Hrishikesha. It's a very important name where Sanjaya addresses Lord Krishna 5 different times in Bhagavad Gita. We have seen the 2 slokas in the very first chapter where Sanjaya uses the term Hrishikesha. Today we will explore 3 more slokas, which is the 24th sloka of the first chapter and the 9th and 10th sloka of the second chapters. Now Hrishikesha means Hrishika, Isha. Hrishika, senses, Isha, Lord. The controller of the senses is called as Hrishikesha. Now in a war, there is a lot of fight that happens, the bloodshed that would happen. People would lose their lives. Some people would lose their arms or legs. There will be a lot of anger. There will be a lot of bloodshed, screams. Some people will take revenge on the others. Some people have to kill innocent people just because they belong to the wrong side of the army. So a lot of this will happen. Again, entire cycle will come up where this person has killed that person, so that person has to again kill another person. So it's a lot of chaos, confusion, emotions, highs and lows, some victories, some success, some sad moments, some pains. Now it is not a place for the faint-hearted. At this point, Hrishikesha means the person who has all his senses under his control. He is the person who can handle such a situation. So Sanjaya uses the term Hrishikesha because Arjuna wanted Krishna to place the chariot in between the 2 armies, and Hrishikesha, who has complete control of his senses, places the chariot in the appropriate place. Now here I would call this as a turning point sloka, because this was the reason why Arjuna, who is otherwise a Dhananjaya, who's been successful in having success in so many different places across the worlds, and he is actually conquered so many kings, conquered so much of wealth for Yudhishthira. Now, just because of what Krishna does just now, Arjuna is now going to lose all his emotions. What did Krishna do? Krishna went and placed the chariot in a place which would actually disturb the emotional tranquility of Arjuna. He places the chariot where Arjuna can see all his children-like people fighting against him, because they are after all relatives, right? So he has the little ones who are fighting on the opponent side, little one in terms of comparison to him. He has his children, he has his grandchildren kind of people who are fighting against him. He has his elders, his gurus who are fighting against him. He's able to see Kripacharya, he's able to see Dronacharya, he's able to see the eldest of the entire family, who is Bhishma Pitama, who is also fighting against him. All this actually shook him completely, because the people of the younger generation on one side, people of the elder generation on the other side, the eldest of the Kuru lineage is also there. Now he has to fight all these people, the elders especially, who he is supposed to worship, the youngsters, he is supposed to protect them. So this actually shakes Arjuna emotionally, and this was because Krishna did that. Now why did Krishna do that? Because Krishna is Hrishikesha. He had complete control over his senses. Why did he do this to Arjuna? It is because he wanted Geethopadesam to be given for the bigger good of the mankind. You know, with so much of confusion and emotional instability, Krishna is going to give Bhagavad Gita, which is going to give complete emotional stability to Arjuna. It is going to give complete emotional stability to all of us who will end up reading the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Krishna actually creates so much of confusion just by parking the chariot in the appropriate place where all these people are visible, thereby creating this emotional instability to Arjuna. Because of this, Dhritarashtra is now getting a little bit of hopes, thinking that, okay, because Arjuna is now getting confused, maybe Arjuna will not fight properly and my sons will have a victory. Sanjaya does not want to give any such hopes. So he uses the term Gudakesha in the combination with Hrishikesha. If you observe closely, even in the previous sloka, there was a combination of Hrishikesha and Gudakesha. Here again we are having a combination of Hrishikesha, Gudakesha. Eva mukto Hrishikesho Gudakeshena Bharata Senayorubhayor madhye Stapayitva ratottamam. Eva muktva Hrishikesham Gudakeshah parantapa Nayotsya iti govindam Muktva tushnim babuvaha. So if you notice, there is a Hrishikesha and a Gudakesha. Now what does Hrishikesha and Gudakesha mean? What does Gudakesha first of all mean? And what does this combination explain to us? Gudakesha means one who is won over ignorance, who is Arjuna. One who is won over sleep is Gudakesha. One who is won over his laziness is also Arjuna. Now all these meanings are there for the word Gudakesha. Now initial context is the person who is won over sleep, because Arjuna can keep fighting even without taking rest, and that was the reason he won against so many armies. He became Dhananjaya also. Now he is not lazy, and that's not the reason why he is not going to fight this war. But what does he say in this sloka? Nayotsya, I am not going to fight. And he is telling that to Hrishikesha, who is the conqueror of all the senses. So Sanjaya is surprised. Babuvaha, he says that I am surprised because he is telling Hrishikesha, who is going to control everybody, everything, everybody's senses, including Arjuna's, who is also going to control what is the destination of this war. Now Arjuna, as if he is going to decide everything, tells Hrishikesha, Nayotsya, I am not going to fight, and then keeps quiet. What is happening? So Sanjaya is actually surprised in this particular sloka. That is the 9th sloka of the 2nd chapter. Now Gudakesha here is basically an information he is passing on to Dhritarashtra, where he says that Hrishikesha, Gudakesha, right? So Hrishikesha is there. Earlier Gudakesha has won over the sleep, and he is also won over his ignorance. But remember, because Hrishikesha, the controller of senses, is there, it's going to help Arjuna, because another meaning of the name Hrishikesha means Hrishikesha. Adi Shankara in his Sahasranama Bhashyam explains Hrishikesha as Hrishikesha. Rishi means happiness and Kesha means hair. So what is this? Well, how do we understand happiness and hair is, we have to go to the Vedic interpretation, where Vedas say that the Lord's hair is made of the kiranas of the Surya and the Chandra. The rays of the sun and the moon are nothing but Lord's own hair. So usually darkness is compared to ignorance, and brightness or light or the Surya rays is compared to knowledge. So here the Kesha would actually mean knowledge. Knowledge is given by the Lord, because of which everybody gets happiness. So Hrishikesha means the one who gives happiness because of knowledge. Now here, if we try to understand that with the word Gudakesha, Gudakesha is now going to receive so much of knowledge because of Hrishikesha, who will be happy after giving the knowledge to Arjuna. Therefore Sanjaya is informing Dhritarashtra, don't be so happy so early, because Hrishikesha is there, who is going to make the Gudakesha, who has controlled his sleep, to be the knower of the knowledge, and therefore be happy about it. Therefore they are going to win the war, not otherwise. So this is the subtle message which Sanjaya passes to Dhritarashtra. Now finally, in the 2nd chapter, the 10th sloka is when Sanjaya uses the word Hrishikesha. This sloka is very important, because only after this, the Bhagavad Gita's Krishna Upadesam actually starts. The Gitopadesam actually starts only from the 2nd chapter, 11th sloka is what the elders say. So this is the final sloka of this kind of conversation between Krishna and Arjuna prior to the actual Upadesam starting, and there the word Hrishikesha has been used by Sanjaya. Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayorubhayor Madhye Vishidantamidam Vachaha. Now, Hrishikesha, that is our Lord Krishna, told these as if he was smiling. So now here, as if he was smiling is the word that is used. Now, why was Krishna as if he was smiling? It's because just imagine Arjuna says, I'm not going to fight this war. Now, substitute little children at home saying that I'm not going to go to school, I'm not going to do a homework or something like that. To the Lord, Arjuna is like a little child, right? So he is like smiling at, starting to tell a few things because only those upadesams is now going to change the mindset of Arjuna. It's like the mother handling the little child. The mother actually tells the child what should the child do. But when the child is already upset, the mother might not scold him, right? So the okay, first listen to me kind of thing. So Krishna now says, Prahasan iva bhashate. So he, as if he is smiling, he tells these words. Now, by understanding the meaning of Hrishikesha, the way Sanjaya has used it, what are some of the learnings that we get? Because that's going to be very, very useful for us. Now, Sanjaya has used the term Hrishikesha in 3 different contexts. One is Hrishikesha, Hrishikesha, the controller of senses. The other is Hrishikesha, where the Lord of knowledge. The third is Hrishikesha, which is the Lord who gives happiness because of knowledge. Now, by knowing all this, how are we going to utilize it in our everyday life? Now, number one, because he is the Lord of knowledge, he gives the entire Bhagavad Gita, and the final name used prior to the Gita Upadesham, the actual Gita Upadesham was Hrishikesha, where Sanjaya uses it. If God can reveal Hrishikesha, can reveal the entire Bhagavad Gita, we can gain every possible knowledge, both for our living in this world and for our learning beyond this world. The word Hrishikesha is going to be very, very useful for us. So for any kind of knowledge that we want, we can pray to God Hrishikesha. The second thing is, for happiness, he uses the word Hrishikesha because he learned so much of knowledge, all his ignorance was removed, and because the ignorance was removed, knowledge was got. Therefore, Hrishikesha was used. So whenever we are confused, we want some clarity of thought, Hrishikesha is the name we have to use, where everything is going to come handy. Now, the third, controller of senses, is going to be very important. Now, I'll just tie all this like a chart for you so that you all can understand the big picture. Now, we recite Hrishikesha. Now, what is Hrishikesha going to do for us? He is going to give us happiness. When we have happiness, we will be able to have all the senses in our control, because when we are stressed, when we are tense, our senses are not under our control. We explained about the war zone earlier, right? Where there is so much of commotion, confusion, everybody has different emotions. So to have complete emotional control, we'll first have to have our senses under our control. So we have our senses under our control. Now, when we have all the senses under our control, we have clear thought process. We have clarity of thought. Clarity of thought helps us take good efforts. When the efforts are proper, there's a very high probability that we will get the results that we want. Getting the results that we want leads us to happiness. And when we are happy, when our mind is clear, we again focus on Hrishikesha, who is going to again control our senses, help us control our senses in the right manner. So this is a vicious chain which keeps happening all the time. So let's remember this. Hrishikesha is going to give us clarity of thought. He is going to give us knowledge. He is going to give us happiness. He is going to give us all what we want to. So let's recite Lord Krishna's names and be blessed.
Madhava Achyuta Krishna Hare Hrishikesha Kesava Govinda Vasudeva Bhagavan Janardana